In the quiet moments, when the noise of the world fades away, I realize just how much this has affected me. The hurt is still fresh, the questions still unanswered, and the emptiness still overwhelming. I used to believe in the power of love, in the strength of connection. Now, I'm left wondering if it was all just a fleeting illusion, something I imagined in my mind because I wanted so desperately to believe in it. Disappointment isn't just an emotion. It's a slow, steady burn that lingers in your chest, making it hard to breathe, hard to think, hard to move forward, and yet, somehow, you still do. I wish I could go back and change things, but time doesn't work that way. You can't undo the damage that's been done, and sometimes you have to accept that some things just aren't meant to be. The feeling of being let down doesn't come with a warning. It sneaks up on you, taking everything you thought you knew and shattering it into pieces. And in the end, you're left standing with nothing but the echoes of your own heartbreak. I gave you everything I had, and in return, I got nothing but disappointment. It's a hard pill to swallow, knowing that the person you trusted the most could let you down so completely. In the end, it's not the words that hurt the most. It's the silence, the absence of the things you need to hear, the absence of the actions that once made you feel safe. And in that silence, the disappointment grows louder. Sometimes I wonder if I was just too naive, too willing to believe in the good in people. But now, with every broken promise, every unfulfilled hope, I can't help but feel that maybe I was just too trusting. It's hard to let go of someone who was never truly yours. But when the truth comes to light, when the disappointment sets in, you realize that holding on is no longer an option. I spent so long trying to make sense of it, trying to figure out what went wrong. But sometimes there are no answers, no explanations, just the painful truth that things didn't turn out the way you hoped. Every time I think about what happened, the disappointment hits me all over again. It's like a constant reminder that not everything you hope for will come true, and not everyone you trust will be there for you. You were the person I thought I could rely on, the one I believed in when everyone else doubted me. But now, I'm left to pick up the pieces of a dream that you shattered without even a second thought. It's not just the disappointment that stings. It's the realization that you gave so much, and in return, you received nothing but silence. That emptiness cuts deeper than anything else. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how you respond to the disappointment they cause. The real strength lies not in avoiding the hurt, but in learning how to rise above it. The hardest part about disappointment is knowing that no matter how much you wish for things to change, they never will. The pain stays, and you're left to find your own way forward. There's a quiet kind of devastation that comes with disappointment. It's the kind that doesn't scream for attention, but instead quietly gnaws away at you, leaving you wondering if you'll ever feel whole again. It feels like I'm standing on the edge, looking down at all the hopes I once had, now scattered at my feet. I don't know how to move forward when everything I thought I knew has been turned upside down. Disappointment doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers in your ear, slowly chipping away at your heart until you're left with nothing but the remnants of what you once believed in. You never really understand the weight of disappointment until you feel it in your bones. It's a heaviness that lingers long after the moment has passed, leaving you with a hollow ache that's hard to shake. I thought I knew who you were, but now I'm left with a broken image of someone I thought I could trust. The disappointment is real, and it's hard to ignore the sting of betrayal that lingers in the air. It's hard to accept that someone you cared for can hurt you so deeply. The feeling of disappointment doesn't fade with time, and each day it's a little harder to remember who I thought you were. You were once my safe place, my anchor in the storm, but now I'm left to navigate the chaos on my own, without the comfort of your presence. The disappointment is something I carry with me, even in my quietest moments. Sometimes, the worst part of disappointment is realizing that you've wasted so much time hoping for something that was never meant to be. You wonder how you didn't see the signs, how you couldn't have known sooner. You can only be let down so many times before you start to question your own judgment. The disappointment isn't just about what you've lost. It's about realizing you've lost faith in something you once held so dear. I never imagined it would come to this. Standing here, staring at the aftermath of trust shattered, where dreams once soared. The weight of your actions hangs heavy on me, and it feels like I'm drowning in an ocean of unmet expectations. You were supposed to be the one who understood me, who saw beyond the surface, who didn't leave me stranded when the world felt like it was closing in. Now, I'm left wondering where everything went wrong and whether it was ever real to begin with. Disappointment has a way of quietly creeping into your life, taking hold of your spirit when you least expect it. It isn't the loud crash of failure that hurts the most. It's the silence that follows, leaving you to question everything you thought you knew. In the midst of confusion and heartache, I'm left wondering how something so pure and full of promise could transform into the deepest wound I've ever felt. What happened to the connection we shared? What happened to all the promises? They say time heals all wounds, but the scars left behind tell a different story. Every thought, every reminder brings me back to the realization that what I thought was certain is now just a distant memory. I once believed in the beauty of our bond, thinking that nothing could tear us apart. Now the pieces of that trust lie shattered at my feet, and I wonder if I'll ever be able to pick them up again, or if I'll walk away with a heart a little less whole. When you place your faith in someone, you imagine they'll be the one to lift you when you fall. But sometimes they're the very ones who push you down, and you're left standing in the ruins, unsure how to move forward. The weight of disappointment is heavier than I ever expected. It wraps itself around you in the most unexpected ways, leaving you to carry it through every thought, every action, until you're not sure who you are anymore. It feels like all the trust I placed in you has been betrayed. I gave you everything I had, and in return, I'm left wondering what went wrong, what I missed, and why I believed in something that would eventually crumble. It's the worst kind of pain, not the one you can see, but the one that lies within, the kind that makes you question your worth, your decisions, and your faith in people. I'm lost in the quiet aftermath of disappointment, where all the words left unsaid are louder than anything spoken. It's as if I'm waiting for something that will never come, but still holding on to the hope that maybe, just maybe, things could be different. There's a certain kind of emptiness that comes from realizing that what you thought was real was just a fleeting illusion. The trust, the hope, the love, it all slips through your fingers, and you're left with nothing but the rawness of what remains. In the wake of disappointment, you're left standing alone, surrounded by the ghosts of what could have been. You question yourself, your worth, and whether any of it was ever truly meant to be. The truth is, I don't know how to move forward from this. Every step I take feels heavier than the last, burdened by the weight of your action and the haunting question of how we ended up here. It's not just the disappointment that hurts. It's the sense of betrayal, the feeling that someone you trusted has taken your heart and thrown it away without a second thought. And now I'm left to pick up the pieces, one fragile shard at a time. What do you do when the person you believed in the most turns out to be the one who hurts you the most? How do you reconcile the image of someone you trusted with the reality of their actions? The pain cuts deeper than words can say. Sometimes The greatest disappointment isn't in the actions of others. It's in realizing that you allowed yourself to believe in something that wasn't meant to be. The weight of self-doubt creeps in, and you wonder how you could have been so blind. The hardest part about disappointment is accepting the truth that you gave your all and it wasn't enough. The truth that sometimes, no matter how much you try, some things just aren't meant to be. I've spent so much time hoping for things to change, waiting for the world to shift back into place. But the truth is, some things can't be fixed, and you're left to figure out how to heal on your own. It's strange, isn't it? How someone can mean so much to you and then become the source of your greatest sorrow. The person you once believed in becomes the reason your heart aches. I thought you were the one who understood me, the one who would always be there. But now, all I'm left with are questions, doubts, and the nagging feeling that maybe I was never as important as I believed. The hardest part of disappointment is the loss of trust, the fragile thing that takes so long to build and so little time to destroy. Once it's gone, everything else feels uncertain, like the ground beneath your feet is constantly shifting,